So let's just turn our attention over here and then we'll take a break. So our first Visio here is with Vincent van Gogh. And I'm just not going through everything with him. I just want to give you a brief um, understanding of him. Now, it's hard for me to stand up here when I find there's an art teacher who's, who's here, retired, but she knows her Van Gogh, I'm sure, with it. But Van Gogh is probably one of the most beloved. He is very well known. You know his work right away. In fact, this piece behind here very much resembles, you can't, it's cutting it off the full thing of it, but the Starry Night. And you know that this sort of is what he was using, that medium there, that concept of, because there's the stars up here with it. So everything you were saying in your Visio, your Lectio, sort of sums up a little bit with Van Gogh was somebody who just had a very complicated relationship with God. And I'm just going to leave it there for you to, discover him a little bit more. These are the years he lived, 1853 to 1890. He's from Holland, so he's Dutch. He's a Dutch painter. He eventually makes his way to Paris, to France, and lives there. And that's where the majority of his work comes out of the sceneries of France and all. But at one point, Vincent van Gogh wanted to be a minister. He studied to be a minister. He was thrown out of the theologate there. And he actually joined a commune of Christians, and they threw him out because he was too extreme. He was actually he was going too deep into what he was doing there. He just wasn't mixing with everyone there. So he was always searching for, where does God, want me to be? Of course, his mental illness, his plays in to all of this, very much so. He died rather young, and today's standards, in his late 40s and all. His father was a minister, so there was that relationship to their very strict, upbringing and such that he had, with his father and all. And he never married. Uh, Again, complications with relationships with women and such. And it's afterwards that we see his letters and all, especially between his brother Theo, that there's this beautiful, relationship of seeking God, and that's really a lot of his artwork shows that, the seeking of God and all that. And I just was told, and I want to look up this article you read about. It's the one of the Night Cafe is actually a take on the Last Supper. There's 12 people in there, and there's a cross of some sort that we have to look for and everything. So he actually, that's his Last Supper in there. So I didn't; those are things I didn't realize. And at the end of his life, too, they say that he committed suicide. He went to a mental hospital in southern France and all that. And they say that he committed suicide, but actually, recent research is showing that he actually was murdered. They think they believe that there were kids, like middle school age type thing, who were taunting him, making fun of him. He was out in the field, and they had a gun, and they shot him and killed him and left the gun with him. And how do we know this? They're saying is that they're looking at the police reports, and what do they find out? That the chief of police, it's his son that was in that group. So they believe it was a cover up. So now we're all discovering all this, about him. But everybody, thinks that he committed suicide with that. So I'm just, again, there's a self portrait of him. He's done several self portraits of himself. I'm going through this real quick because this isn't what I want to show you. These are pictures that hung in his father's office that he was taken by. This one too, if you notice, he was very much in tune to death, and such as a funeral going on procession. So this was very much, he was taken by that picture there. These were done when he was in that commune, and these are sketches that he did there. Uh, this is another painting. This one's going to come up in 2 weeks. You'll learn about this is his family Bible here with that. This is the Starry Night, okay, this is the one. And of course, it's God. This isn't the one we're going to do a Visio on in a minute, but this is, he saw this from his room where he was in the mental hospital there. And very much like what today's gospel was about. You know, he when he looked out onto the sky and he saw the village, he said, you know, God is at work there. God is, they sleep there and he's taking care of them. So there really shouldn't be anything we should fear. That's what he's portraying here with all the celestial encounters there. And he's very much into the wheat, the reaper, and all that. And that's why we're going to stop here for our first Visio. And I put this here because Pope Leo actually reflected on this right when he was made Pope. Yeah, this was the one that he reflected on. So let's just take a look and uh, see what you see, what speaks to you. Just silently let us look at this, and then I'll ask you what's coming out of here for yourselves. And as you gaze upon this painting of Van Gogh, in the two readings that we had earlier this morning that we just reflected on, anything here sort of capture Paul and what we talked about too? Okay, anybody? What, what, this one would just whoever wants to volunteer. What's striking you? What comes out of this? What's coming out of here for you?
For me, he seems very casual in what he's doing.
Okay.
He's spreading the seed pretty much anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And some could be on good soil, and some could go in the ditch.
Okay.
And of course, it brings to mind Jesus's parable.
Right. This is part of the parable, right, of Jesus sowing, right, the seed and all, right? In the ditch.
Sun looks like the monstrous. He makes it so
Uh-huh.
evident, like the beams coming out, and the man's work
Mm-hmm.
doing his work with his sun there.
Mm-hmm. This was what you were attracted to right away, was the sun. Right?
Okay, so a little too obvious in my brain, but Jesus, the Son, and all that wheat is already fully grown, but there's more that needs to be done.
Yeah.
There's another field that needs to be sown.
Right. Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah.
So like the missionary coming out.
Yeah, and that's what Pope Leo saw in this also early on in his pontificate. He actually used the image of Van Gogh's sowing in that sense of missionary activity of we need to reap, right? We need to be sent out into, so half of it is done, but it still needs to, there's still more to be done with it, with that.
It looks like a lonely place, but life is flourishing. The two birds, and he's walking into darkness. The sun is behind him, and he's not afraid. He's very confident.
Very right, very confident, not afraid. Like you're saying, that the sun is almost risen up, so it's not morning when this is probably mid afternoon, when he's doing this also with that. And
the setting sun.
Yeah.
So the setting sun always has a lot of heat and beauty.
Right.
There's always a lot of beauty with the setting sun.
Right.
And I was thinking, well, his work is done. He's done his job. He's going home for a good meal, and he's going to go relax now.
That's right. Yeah. Have some wine and cheese, right? And a nice little piece of bread, right? Because it is France. This is southern France too, where he's picking this up. Okay, and connection to what we read with St. Paul and all, with Lydia and Silas and Aquila and Priscilla. Anything come together? What were they? Goes to a little bit, Kathy, what you were saying. Anything like?
Yeah, well, same kind of thing. The word was kind of like planted in them and growing, but there was something else to be done. Like Paul was in the synagogue, and that wasn't working out really good. See, I'm going to the Gentiles now. Not for you fully grown members of the covenant.
Yeah.
I'm going out to a new field.
Yeah.
I see, although I can't stop seeing that that's a monstrance.
Yeah.
The sun is almost like walking behind him, protecting him. So as he's doing his work, he doesn't have to be afraid. afraid, he's protected, and it's the belief. It's the belief that keeps them. The belief that they showed. He's trying to bring to other people.
Right. And you can tell you're Catholic because you're seeing the monstrance. You know, he's Protestant, so that probably wouldn't have been. But I don't know. But yeah, it's beautiful what you're saying there. All right, the last one, we'll take a break, and this won't take too long. This is one of my favorites, but the explanation to it. So just take a look at what you see here. It's a church in southern France, the Church of Auvers. This was painted towards the end of his life.
Is that a man walking?
Well, yeah, there's somebody there. Yeah.
It's interesting that there are two paths to the church.
Yes. So first off, it's the back of the church. Normally, you would see a church head on. You want to see the church from the. This is the back of the church. So, what specifically about the church is distinct? Well, they're on the side. Yeah. But you're on the side. So this is a person. It's a woman who probably worked in the field with her hat, with everything, coming in. But what about the church itself? Anything strike you about the church? Okay, great shade movement there.
There's light around the church. It's ripping very bright greens right along the perimeter of the church and the two trees on the side of the church.
Okay, so there's some life around it. What about the church itself? So I heard about the doors. You see no doors, but okay. Okay. So it's not very, basically, let's put it this way, it's not welcoming in a sense. So it's not hospitable. The doors aren't open. It's dark. We don't know if it's nighttime and all that. This is Van Gogh's, at the time of the end of his life, his spirituality is reflective here. He felt the church was not welcoming, inviting, or letting him in to anything. He is shut out. The woman that's not, like you said, there's two paths here. Which path is she taking? So it's showing what happens with one of those questions you said with like the scandals in the church or problems. Why don't people join or whatever, and such that possibly people feel like the church isn't as inviting or welcoming at times that it can be, and it has for some, had that effect on some people. So this painting here is reflecting Van Gogh's period in his life right now, towards the end of his death, where he's not experiencing that, with it. Okay? So opposite to what we saw of the sower, who's reaping and bringing in a harvest, here it's closing, not as open with that. So let's end our first session here with that in prayer, that we have experienced and encountered the Lord in sowing the word, but at times, how does it fall in people's lives with it?